Good afternoon. Tuesday afternoon. The market doesn't know where it's going. The bond market down a little bit, stock market down a little bit, but it has been trading in a narrower and narrower range for the last few days. And this is what happens with a bear market rally. You know, we suggested about a month ago that we were in for some respite and that the market would go up because it simply wants to. And it thinks that inflation has been whipped or the worst part of inflation is behind us or something. It needs to grab onto good news. And good news is hard to find. But our guess is that we're long in the tooth on the rally and the true direction of the market is going to be reset. On the interest rate front, the Federal Reserve has a lot more work to do. Don't forget this. Inflation is the first boogeyman that showed up here this year, and inflation is still coming in high. And the Federal Reserve says an acceptable rate of inflation is 2%. Well, we're somewhere kicking between 8 and 10%. That's nowhere near 2. So any interest rate ammunition that the Fed has yet to spend is going to be spent, and so we're looking at the bond market rather cautiously. Same thing with recessions. There is slowdown in the economy, but then we got these spigots of strength coming in, employment numbers, yada da da da. And what we've got is going back to COVID, where they absolutely just shut the economy down. Nobody in their right mind just shuts the economy down. Well, we did. And to bring it back, it doesn't come back all at once. It's not like turning on a spigot and filling the bathtub. It's going to be a while coming back. Water's going to splash around, and some areas will show surprising strength and others are lagging. And so you've got an irregular sort of a background. That's what we're getting economically. And I think it's, you can't ask any more of it. Because you've got a war going on, you've got ugly politics going on in our country, just terrible, and with both sides doing what they've got to do to take control because our country is just absolutely split. So all I can tell you is we're still cautious. This bill that was passed this weekend, the Inflation Reduction Act or some crazy thing, is anything but that. I will simply tell you that it's a big tax increase. It is a big control for government body increase, meaning that apparently there's language in there to undo the Supreme Court ruling of about a month ago that agencies of government don't have the wherewithal to dictate and make policy and make rules. But this bill will allow them to do so we can expect more regulation. On the tax side, they're looking for $330 billion out of this bill. Now let me explain this. They're going to raise individual taxes, but the bulk of it's going to come from business. And if you're looking for $300 billion of new tax money out of government, it's going to come out of profits. So somewhere out there's $300 billion of profits this year that won't be there next year or whenever the law takes effect. Now, $300 billion is a lot of money, especially when you're talking about profits. The Standard & Poor's sells at 20 times earnings, meaning that the price of all the stocks in the Standard & Poor's are 20 times the amount that they earn. Well, if we're going to take out $300 billion and move it to the tax column and take it out of the profit column, guess what? 20 times 300 billion is about $6 trillion of valuation that's in the market that by definition is going to have to disappear. Now, where it disappears from, which sectors get hurt more than others is yet to be seen. The fine print's not out yet because they have to get together with the House and complete this transaction. So we're still kind of waiting and looking for the fine print. But we do know there's a lot of tax money. We also do know there's a lot of regulation coming down. We do know that drugs and pharmaceuticals, for example, typically have a low tax rate, 8%, 9% kind of tax rate, because they use Puerto Rico as a tax benefit for producing drugs in Puerto Rico. It's part of the tax law. So companies form up and to take advantage of it. Well, with a minimum tax of 15%, they're going to have to make up the difference. Not only that, is that they've identified 10 drugs, widely sold drugs, that they're going to put price controls on, and government's going to negotiate those prices. Well, government doesn't really negotiate; they just tell you what it is. So, there are parts of this that leave a big question mark from the standpoint of how healthy is the economy. Well, what you see today doesn't mean that's what you're going to see tomorrow. We've got to see how this bill passes. We've got to see how inflation does and what the Federal Reserve does. And for our money, which is your money, we want to be careful. We want to keep it close to the vest and have enough to play another day, because another good day will happen. We're just not sure when. When you stop and look at things with perspective, just look at society around you and look at the morality. I mean, there's not a day that goes by I don't turn on the TV and I see on camera an act of robbery or a break-in of some store on the mainland, or somebody getting shot in the street, or some old lady carrying groceries getting punched out by some punks going after him. I mean, if our living in the cities is becoming like this, the morality around society and in society seems to be fraying. What are we in transition to? What is a correction that we're going through now? And where does it end up directionally? Those questions can't be answered. I don't care what kind of analysis you put on it. You've got to keep an open mind and try to take advantage of what's given. And at this point, I think we're still mid-correction, and we still have to have patience. So, with some patience left in my heart, I'll say good night, and we'll be in touch again soon, I'm sure. The market seems to be cooking some kind of a stew for itself. We'll just wait and see. Thank you.